Okay, in this video I want to show you how to add text to your drawing. In the previous video we talked about creating text styles, and we still have those text styles in this drawing. If I pull this down and I take a look at it, that fancy style that I created previously will be current. I'll pull this down and make the normal style current to start off with, and then we basically have two different commands that can be used to place text onto a drawing. If I pull this down, we have what's called single line text, and we have multi-line text. Let's go with single line text first, and I'll pick that. And it prompts me to pick the start point of where we want the text to start, and I'll just pick in here. Now, another thing I want you to note is that text is just like lines, arcs, and circles. It's going to go on whatever layer is current, and it will take the line weight and not line type, but line weight properties with it. Now we have kind of a thicker line weight attached to the object layer, so even though I'm in the middle of this command, I can pull this down and let's switch to something that's got a lighter line weight, and I can continue with this command. Now we'll be drawing or placing text on the hidden layer. And I just picked the start point of the text, and then it asks me for the text height. And if you remember, I said in the previous video that if you left the height of the style set at 0, you'll be prompted for the text height, and that's why I'm being prompted, because with that normal style I left the height at 0, so now I have control of the height. And I'll just put in 0.125, as most of our text is usually going to be about 1/8 of an inch tall. I don't know who picked out 0.2 at Autodesk as the default text height, but we just have to live with it. I'll type in 0.125 and hit enter. And then it prompts me for a rotation angle of the text, and that if I just want it to read, flat or horizontally, I can pick this or hit enter to say 0. I'll just pick because it's at 0 degrees, and I'll pick. And then it's now prompting me for the text. We got this super humongous helpful tool, that little blinking eye bar, just letting me know, go ahead and type in some text. So I will say this is some text, and I'll hit period. And then I hit enter. And when you hit enter, I want you to note that, remember now, the name of the command is single line text, but now it's letting me add another line. How come it said single line if I'm able to add more lines? Okay. I'll hit enter again, and I can still even add another line. If I hit enter one more time, if I hit enter when I'm at the beginning or at the first spot, that will be good enough to end the command. Okay, and now there's our lines of text. Now the reason it's called single line text, even though you can enter multiple lines with that command, is that each line is its own separate entity. You can see that just one line or the other is highlighting, and as I hover over it, it's not considered one whole entity. So that's how to add text with the single line text. If I go ahead and switch my style to the fancy style, and I go up here, the only difference, it's a real subtle difference in the picture to know whether you're in single line or double line. If you have that little underline underneath the A, that means single line text. It just says text no matter which one of these two commands you're using. So keep an eye on that underline. I'll pick this again, and I'll pick another start point, and I'll make the text twice as tall, 0.25, just because I can, because I left my style with a height of 0. And angle for the rotation of the text, of the line of text, not the obliquing angle that we can apply to the text itself. That's done in the style. But now I can just enter some other text. And if I hit enter, drops to the next line. If I hit enter again, we're all done. And there's the fancier, that stylus BT font being used for this style, and the Arial font being used for this style. So that's the single line text command. Below that, or hidden underneath, but what's actually on top to begin with, is multi-line text. Most people, I shouldn't say that, it's probably 50-50 out in industry. There's applications for multi-line text, and there's applications for single-line text. Multi-line text lets me put in more lines of text, but this is all going to be considered one object. Now, it's a little clunky as far as the prompting goes. If you notice, it's prompting me for a corner, and it is showing me kind of an ABC based on what text type, just so you got an idea what the text type is going to look at or look like, depending upon how far in you might be zoomed. I'll pick a corner, and then you got to pick the other corner, and this is the box that AutoCAD is going to recognize as how wide it should go before it drops to the next line automatically. So if I want to, I'm kind of looking at that line of text up above where it said here is some other text, and I'm going to kind of drag it out to that same point and just pick. Now, I'm just kind of mimicking the height of the text with my box. I don't have to. It says other corner or opposite corner, but all it's really looking for is a width. There's no difference between this box and this box. Okay? It's really just looking to say, where is the rightmost edge of my text? Where should I start the word wrapping? So I'll pick right here, and then I'll type in basically the exact same thing that I did up above. Backspace. It's kind of nice. It does give you little hints that you spelled something wrong with that underscore. And then I'll just put, see, now it doesn't fit, so it automatically wraps to the next line. When you're all done, you can't just hit enter. If I hit enter, it drops to the next line, just like the single line text did. But if I hit enter again to try to get out of here, that doesn't let me out. It just kind of assumes that I want to do a double spacing type thing. What you want to do, you got two choices. You can, well, three choices, and maybe even more than that. What I always do is just pick. Move out here and pick anywhere, and that'll end the text command. I'm going to backspace just so I don't have two extra spaces, because it will recognize those extra spaces. I could pick outside the box anywhere. That'll end the command. I can hit the escape key. That'll end the command. I can hit, actually, I think escape cancels the command and I'd lose everything. Escaping to get out of a command is not a good idea. I can do a shift enter. That gets me out of there. I think I can right click. Nope, doesn't look like right click is going to let me get out of here. I got all sorts of text editing tools in there. I'll just pick anywhere outside, and that ends the command. That's my way of getting out of there, is just pick outside. And you see that all of that is a single text object. Each line is part of the first line, if you will. It's a paragraph-oriented text. Now, a couple of things that we can do, like let's say I wanted to get back to my 1/8 inch tall text, and let's say I wanted to get back to my my normal style. If I go back up here, notice that it still says text. Icon is still an A, but that underline isn't there, so that means that that's multi-line text. I can pick it. Now, you have to pick the first corner before you can start modifying different options. Once I pick the first corner, then I can kind of go down here and say, hey, I'm going to designate the height. I want to switch my height from 0.25 to 0.125. Okay? And then I still have options, and I want to change my style to the, did I call it normal? I think I did. Normal style, okay? And it took it, okay? Now I'm back to normal. Now it doesn't show me, because I started the command with the fancy style active, that ABC is in that fancy style. As soon as I pick, though, it should be using the new style. I'm going to go ahead and say here is some text. I don't like that it's not doing 1/8 of an inch tall. I'll have to play around with that in just a second. I'm going to pick to get out of here. And it's still 0.25. Why did the height not change? Did I not? I'm going to hit F2 to review my text entries. I did change the height to 0.125, and then I changed the style. I don't know why that height didn't change to 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to pick. I'm going to go up here again. I'm going to pick the first corner. Oh, see, now it's there. I have no idea why that height didn't change. Let's use that to our advantage here. We'll turn it into a teaching moment. I'm going to cancel out of here, because obviously it's going to be doing the normal text style and the 1/8 of an inch text height like we wanted it to previously. But I'll hit escape, and let's say this should have been 1/8 of an inch. Just pick it, and with quick properties popping up, we can change that to 0.125. Hit enter, and then everything goes down to that 1/8 of an inch. And because the word wrapping started here and the text height is shorter, it now fits all on one line rather than two lines. So there's your multi-line text and your single line text. There are some other options to it, but we've talked our way through how to access these options. There's nothing all that secret about anything. Just kind of experiment with some of those different options.